D over here.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, now I get Chris, the unit, birthday boy, Cybert. Woo! Yeah, baby. All right. This is that year, 28 years ago, the world changed.
That's right.
That's it, baby.
Yep,
all right. We have Brent online answering all your questions. And we have Min Min on the board. She's right over there. She's hiding today. Okay. It's going to be a little difficult for me. I personally want to dedicate this episode, 144, Festool Live, to a friend of mine in Canada who passed away this week. And the world won't be as great without him. We're going to miss you, Rich, and I'm dedicating this to you and your family. We love you. Okay. Whew. Hey, I got through it, huh? Yeah. All right. Thank you. Now, today's episode is a conglomeration of a bunch of episodes that we did on sanding. And instead of going out there and say, hey, check out episode this and episode this and episode this, we came up with this episode to talk about sanding, but also applications. It's going to answer a lot of questions for you in the Festool family of sanders. We have quite a few of them out today. I'm not going through all of them. All right, but I wanted to present something because fairly recently, within the month, I was doing a demonstration and I went, oh my goodness gracious, this will explain a lot or teach a lot because it's a great visual for you. And hear me out on this because I'm going to cover a lot of little things in the Festool sanding system today. And you want to stay tuned to the end because we got some surprises going on here. All right, now, in the past I've drawn on the whiteboard orbital and random orbit and rotex mode. And when somebody comes up to us when we're doing demo days or at a trade show or one of our sales managers is at a Festool experience in a place near you, a lot of customers come up to us and say, hey, I want to buy a Festool sander. I want to get into the system. Well, number one, we always suggest you get it with a dust extractor. And we could talk about dust extractors at another time, which is the right choice for you. Whether you're sanding a house or what, Chris?
A birdhouse.
A birdhouse, okay. That's the question he asked me before we started. What a character. He knows all my shtick, okay? Two-pack. Oh my goodness! Right. He's got the allowance today. He's birthday boy, I'm in. He's picking on me. Okay, so... Boy, you're in a rare mood, my friend. 28. Ooh, 28. Woo. That's 2 away from 30, huh? You old man. All right. Okay, so as we go through this, some of it may be repetitive, but I'm combining everything together. Okay, so you'll come up to us at a trade show and say, hey, which sander do I want? My first question is, what are you going to use it for the majority of the time? And when we talk about the different orbits, it's kind of lineal, where we go from what? Less aggressive to more aggressive. And I got a great demonstration to show you that. So an orbital sander, and I get this over here, and I'm going to bring it over here because in other words, we're going to help you today make a educated decision on which sander you should get first or put into your arsenal if you already have some Festool sanders. Whew, I'm having a tough time with some of this verbiage today, amen? So I'm going to choose 3 different sanders. I'm going to choose an orbital sander. I'm going to choose a random orbit sander. Okay, and I'm going to choose my favorite sander. Oh, Billy Baroo. Okay. Do you know what that's a call out to? Oh, Billy Baroo, Billy Baroo. Caddyshack, come on, man. You know when Ted Knight picked up his putter? Never mind. Oh my God. You know what? I actually think I'm the oldest person in the room. Oh, wait a minute. I am. Oh, never mind. Okay, so I'm going to start with orbital. And orbital is basically a vibrating sander like this. It doesn't spin. It just vibrates. So I'm going to use it, and now to qualify this experiment, I have 80 grit on each and every one of these. So if somebody came up to me and said, Sedge, I need to have the best sander for paint removal. And man, I have seen some people inform people they need a small sander, so they recommend this, an orbital sander. And that is the wrong choice. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and this is basically, an orbital sander is your finish sander. It's not for paint removal. And I got 80 grit on here, but I'll start it up, and you'll see as I'm sanding, and you'll see the pattern as I move it. Okay, and Big D, do you have a good view of that, okay, to show that? Now, I felt it, but I also want to call it out. Remember, I always tell you, it's all about, it's an overall system. This was tugging down too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on, and now you'll see it's a little more effective as I broke the surface tension. I lowered the dust extraction suction. That is a huge one. Make sure you use it. Okay, that is orbital. You remove some paint. Now let's take the ETS EC 150/5. And yes, I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, because I'm going to compare, this is, I should have called this the versus, the sander versus this, versus this, versus this. Here's the ETS 150 EC, the lower profile with the brushless motor with a 5mm orbit. Let's turn it on. And you'll see it's a little more aggressive, right? And I'm covering a larger section because it's a 6-inch, it's more pad. Okay, before I move on, I am going to hook up one more sander, which, and Chris over here, so you can see this, there's 2 series of dots here. The finer dots, if I put it in there, it's the same now as this one. It's a 5mm orbit in random orbit. But I'm going to put it in the Rotex mode. Okay, you probably heard that pin click in there. So now it's basically this sander, but it's geared. And when I turn it on, you'll see the night and day difference. Orbital, random orbit, Rotex. So if somebody asks a painter, which sander should I get? And I'll go, well, what are you painting? Are you using it to sand in between coats? Yeah, you get a 5mm orbit. But also, you're removing paint? Yes, so it's application specific. Now, when we talk about that, we have 3 Rotex sanders. We have a 6-inch, 150. Remember, 25mm is roughly 1 inch. That's what I was taught way back when, roughly. So when I look at 150, 25 into 150 goes 6 times. How-wow, a little bit of metric in there. Hey, Minnie, really quick. And hey, I didn't coach her on this. Take 25 and divide into 125. What do you get?
5.
Hey, that's why this is a 5-inch Rotex. Woo, you're really good, man. I'm going to start calling you Miss Metric. All right, so why would I get this? Because this has the 2 modes as well. It's all about where do I gotta get this into? I think that's the right way of saying that. That's what I've always told people. In other words, if I'm sanding a staircase and the rises, I have a small area in there, I probably use this in there. Okay? And the treads, maybe I'll use this for both, but also depending on if you're using it for paint removal, depending on the side of your clapboard, how big it is, and the smaller clapboard, you'll probably want to use a 5-inch because you have more pad in contact with the clapboard siding for paint removal. Whew. Okay, now I've talked about the RO90 before, okay, on several occasions. This has 3 modes, Okay, and where would you use this? This was designed for the painter to work on windowsills, window frames, casing, for prepping for paint or removal of paint. That's why we also have, when we put it in the detail mode, it's actually, watch this. Most people don't know this. I think I've showed this before. Okay, when I take it over here, bring it over like this, okay, I have, see the small dots? What do I have? I have this mode right here. Okay? Random orbit. If I put it in Rotex, okay, I now have, look, this mode. But once again, this is a 3.5-inch size. It's the 90, right? And what the problem is I'll take forever to do a large panel like this. That's why I choose the larger pad. But what people don't know, they think I automatically got to put my detail pad on here, and I don't. Look, I have this orbit now. Orbital. So I have all three modes, orbital, random orbit, and Rotex with the RO90. It's just I have a small pad in diameter, but I can also take that off. I can put the detail on. But the one thing I want to show you about application is this is an accessory pad, and see how it's extended? And this is perfect for something like this if I'm sanding louvered doors, because this will, in the orbital, will allow me to get right up into that area in an orbital mode, and I can get this prepped to put a finish because of the thinness of this pad. I hope all that made sense. And you can use it in no, you can only use it in one mode. Because when I put this in, it only works in what? In orbital. See how I can't get that now into random orbit and Rotex? Because if I could get this into random orbit or Rotex, this would become the spinning triangle of death. Okay? Hey, you've never heard that one. Oh, hey, new stick, baby. New stick. All right. Hey, Minnie. It's a good room today. It is a good room. All right, we got a good jive going. So hopefully that made sense. Orbital, random orbit, Rotex. That's what I wanted to get across to you. And it'll help you make that selection, hopefully. Now, the next one I want to go over is, people come up all the time. I am so confused. Let's go over here and really confuse everybody, Chris. I have 6 random orbit sanders. Well, I do have 7, but I didn't break out the cordless version of this, ETS. Oh, this is tough because these are still in our arsenal. This is probably one of our #1 selling sanders. It's a 5-inch random orbit sander, palm sander. It's price conscientious to get people to look at the Festool system. And by the way, it's one of the most common sanders in North America, is a 5-inch random orbit sander. And we have these, and this is the older models of these. We kept them in our arsenal to be price conscientious. They're about $136 less than their brothers right here. Okay? This is the newer version of these. And at home, I have this one because I like the weight of it. I'm not using it on a vertical surface like this. When I'm using this, it's usually to sand out a tabletop. It's usually to sand cabinet pieces before assembly, and it works fantastic. If I was to be back in the business and I had a lot of sanding on the job site, I would probably go with this. This is the ETC EC being the motor, brushless motor. Okay, this has been out for a few years. This is, we want it to be in the market of ergonomics, which we've always have been, but this is light in weight. I don't want to say this, I don't think I'm allowed to, but I will say it. It's virtually indestructible, okay? And you can use this on vertical surfaces, and it's very comfortable. It's just ergonomically, I'm going to say it, perfect. Now, where it comes into a play with something like this is we always joke around is when somebody asks, hey, I'm just trying to decide between a 5-inch and 6-inch, I always look at them and go, what do I always say? You already know it. Do you like to sand? Right? Oh, goodness. Look, 5-inch versus a 6-inch. Everybody says that's just an inch. No, it's not. It's about 42%. I used to say 31% more surface area, but then I got corrected by my friend Matty. And I think he said it's either 42 or 44% more pad surface. Yes, he's a rocket engineer. Okay, so when you look at that, what do I want to do? Do I want to? We saw it over here with a 3-inch versus a 6-inch. Okay, it's more pad. You have more surface area. You'll get the job done quicker. At home, I'm pretty much all into 6-inch sanding because I hate sanding. I want to get to the finished product, put some finish on, and get it delivered into the house. Okay, so I will tell you, if you can work into a 6-inch sander, do it. You'll be so happy. Okay, now let's talk about the difference between 3 and 5. I'm going to come right over here. I'm going to just do a quick switcheroo. 5 is a more aggressive orbit than 3. So why? Okay, so why would I want to sand slower? Because I don't want to burn through the finish. If I'm sanding, and we use this for another Festool polishing video, I sanded here to knock it down. You can see where it's starting to dull. We're knocking down the high spots. I'm not going to use a more aggressive sanding orbit. I'm going to use the 3 with, remember it's a system, a super soft pad, and I will sand out the finish before polishing it. I will flatten the finish. I don't want to burn through a finish. That is why you want to sand slower. Now, I don't know if I ever did this. Let's do this with these, because I like doing it with these. They're a little taller, and I have a little more control out of them. I'm going to see what kind of paper I have in here. Okay, so I have done this before on video, I'm not sure. So this is the 5. If I go like this and I make a dot here, see that right there? Chris, you got this? Derek, you got this? If I turn it on and I hold the pad, you're going to see it make a circle. See it? Right here, look. You got it, Big D? Okay, that circle, if I measured it, has a diameter of 5 millimeter. That's where the 5 comes in. It's a 5 millimeter stroke. This one's the 3. And let me set this up just like this. Oh, look, I'll dot over the dot. And I'm going to turn it on. See how it's smaller? That's a 3 millimeter diameter. You got that, Big D? Right there? Okay. So if you really think about it, that grit is being taken around a shorter circumference, where this one is broader, so it's going to cut more, all right, in a broader spectrum. Hopefully that came across. That's the way it was explained to me, but it made sense when one of the trainers over in Germany showed me that dot trick. Okay, so that's the difference between, wow, let's review. That's the difference between orbital, random orbital, and Rotex, 6 inches versus 5-inch, and 3.5. Okay, the 150s, hopefully you understand the ergonomics of the older ones. I like the weight of the older ones when I'm on a tabletop too. The control of it, and it's virtually vibration free. And then the 3 versus 5 millimeter orbit. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Hey, what did we build last week? We went and we took the bottom and we put it to the sides in the face frame, and I left this out all week. I threw a couple screws to bring it together. But I want to point this out because a lot of people ask, hey, I'm a cabinet maker, which sanders do you recommend? I always recommend the DTS 400. Especially when I'm getting close to applying my finish. And I've showed this to you before, hopefully. The RTS, which I used earlier, I'll always use if I'm sanding the cabinetry on my final grits. Sometimes I'll want to do that. Maybe I throw down a seal coat and I'll sand out my seal coat before I spray my finish at like 180, 220. But I'll knock it down, and I'll use that because I don't want it to be too aggressive. But I'm not going up against any walls because I'm going to assemble it soon. I had just finished it flat, so I'll use the RTS 400. It's in an open area. Now, when I have an assembled cabinet and I need to spray it, okay, I'm gonna make a mark right here, and I gotta take away those marks. I'll do this, and with the RTS, if I put it up against, see how it bumps? Okay? And look, it's already starting to hurt the sidewall. This is for open spaces. The DTS 400, and I call it the adjacent surface sander, okay? You'll notice the pad, it's tapered up like this, and it's got a slight arc here. So when I put it up against here, it's got a single point of contact. So when I start sanding, you'll see how it gets right in there. And it doesn't mar the adjacent surface like the RTS did. So I'm gonna tell you right there, that right there is the winner for cabinetry. People going on the job site, like a painter, prepping before he puts his paint onto a built-in that the trim carpenter did. This is the greatest sander to go in and get that area prepped. Also, this is a big one for the guys going to do knockout, or they're going into for drywall final inspection, and they gotta, like, they have a nail pop, they pop it in, put some drywall mud on there, and then they go in and just use this. They don't have to break out their Planex. A lot of drywallers get this because it gets right into that corner, or that upper converging corner for a ceiling that the Planex can't get into. They'll get into this with this point to finish off a ceiling or an upper corner to the ceiling. So the DTS 400 is the winner on a lot of fronts on that. Okay, I think I have time for one more demonstration. I have been talking about sanders the whole time, and I don't know if I did this demonstration, but remember I talk about all the time in every single Festool live, every single episode, you may buy a Domino, or you may buy a Capex. You might buy a sander. You might buy a track saw, okay? But I will always tell you and coach you, make sure you have a dust extractor with that, because that completes the system. It means so much when you have it with a sander. And follow me on this one. I'm gonna grab a piece of walnut here, okay? And I'm gonna just move this back here a little bit. All right, grab her over here so I don't break anything like I usually do. Boy, Chris, you're gonna have a lot of cleaning up to do today, huh? Holy macanoli.
Oh, it's his birthday.
You think we should give him a pass because it's his birthday? Yeah. Not. At least I got him to laugh today. What did I say? I always forget. Spinning blade of death. Yeah. Really? Okay. Now, whenever I coach people, I always say, hey, what's your time worth? Do I need a dust extractor? I go, what's your time worth? Do you want to spend time cleaning up? Okay. Do you want to spend time sanding the material, or removing material, or sanding dust? Using a dust extractor, I'm gonna turn it all the way up with the Rotex, because Rotex, man, RO150 and Rotex, there is no surface tension. This is a very aggressive sander. Okay, when you hold a Rotex, I'll always coach everybody, hold it back here, make sure the pad stays flat, but I'm gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna take off dust extraction. Okay, and I'm gonna sand for a second or so. Okay. It's not always about sanding or saving time in this application. It isn't as it isn't. It's also about your health. If you're gonna sand, make sure you have a Festool dust extractor, okay? Because it is a HEPA filtrated system. All right, but there's another thing that maybe the video here took it. There was chaff coming off of this and it started to fly up in the air. Okay, you can see it? Okay. That's the stuff that you're breathing. That's not good. It's wood dust is a carcinogen, so it's a must to have dust extraction while sanding, okay? On all kinds of fronts. Now, and levels. See this dust? If I continue sanding, I would be sanding dust. This is what I used to do when I was a kid. I would sand this stuff, okay, with no dust extraction. And you know what I was replacing all the time? What? This, sandpaper is glazing. You could save so much money on your consumables, sandpaper, which is the tool, right? Okay, and by the way, with the Rotex RO150, there's a little green tab here. And this, we include, no extra charge, a little crevice tool there to clean up with. Had you heard that one before?
No.
Hey, all kinds of shtick. All right, man, we're crushing it today, big C.
Big C.
Big C. Okay, so when I turn it on, I have dust extraction. You're gonna notice that basically even pulls the dust out of the pore of this walnut. But the other thing is it also keeps the paper clean. So on all levels, it's your health, it's your time, sanding material instead of dust, but also you don't have to wait for that dust to come down before you spray. It saves hours and hours on filtration of the air. So I wanted to cover that at the very end, and remember this, if you buy a Festool sander and it's the first time, make sure you have a Festool dust extractor, because it's not just the sander, it's the system. Whew. I think, oh, wait a minute. One more application. We're going to talk about this. This is the cabinet that we always use. Chris, follow me over here. This is the cabinet we always use for everything we've had to do. And we're going to open it up really quick. Oh my, what do we have in here? Hang on, hang on.
No.
Oh, no way. Oh, look at this. Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Okay, hang on a second. Big D, come over and grab the camera. Okay.
Since there's a candle in it, he probably won't smush it in your face.
No, I won't. Okay, get over here. Everybody, he's always behind the camera. This is my little brother right here. This is the unit!
Oh my God.
Okay, so we're gonna sing really quick a little happy birthday on right now. Happy birthday to you. You don't sing to yourself. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Chris.
Happy birthday to you. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Make a wish. All right, there you go, kid. And I got you this. Go ahead and hold that. Make sure it gets on camera. Look, ooh, look, it says happy birthday, birthday boy. There you go. And everybody, that's the unit. People who come out and see us on the road, they get to meet him. Not everybody gets to meet him. And he is the reason we look so good here on Fridays.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Get back behind the camera.
Back to work.
Back to work. Okay. All right, man.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm ready to eat that cake.
Birthday wishes. There we go.
Okay, everybody. I'm going to call everybody out. Happy birthday, kid.
Thank you, Zach.
I love you.
Love you too.
Okay. Okay. So here we go. Wow, Ben, you got a lot of good names. New T-shirt, spinning triangle of death. Nicholas, I think we should. Okay. Boy, isn't that cute? All right, that's red velvet
good.
cake. You know, yeah, that's all you, brah.
Oh yeah, you got.
That's all you. I had to wake up early to go get this stuff. You owe me an hour. Okay. The other Warren from Caldwell, Ohio, Idaho. We have Michael from Edmonton, Alberta. Jason from Fenton, Michigan. Jason and Yana, how are you? Granite Falls, Washington. We have Swempa from Halmstad, Sweden. Chris from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Petri from Jolarvi, Finland. Leo from Holland. We have Russ from Chichester. How you doing, Russ, baby? We have Joe from Waseca, Illinois. Mark S. from Springfield Woodcraft. Julian from Lausanne, Switzerland. I just had friends go to Switzerland. Man, I saw some pictures from Switzerland this week. Hey, baby. Ray from Pensacola, Florida. Des from Harrogate, England. Aronzo from Mississauga, Ontario. We have Dirk It's him.
Woo.
It's Dirk from Dayton. All right, we have Chris from Malta. Well, you know what we ought to do? We ought to get everybody to go to Malta with us. Have a fespedition. Hey. Did you ever hear that one?
No.
Hey, I'm
3 for 3.
boy, man. It's because it's your birthday. Okay, we have Elk Woodworking from Douglasville, Georgia. We have Jacob from Rhode Island. Jerry G from Sugar Grove, Illinois. We have Arno from Wawich.
Nailed it.
What? Whatever. No, I'll say Walweek. Okay. Stefan from Brights Cove, Ontario. Johnny O from Atco, New Jersey. Ray from Pensacola, Florida. Soren from Denmark. Hard to name from Atlanta, Georgia. John from Peasleyville. I think I got that. Or Peasleyville. Wherever that is. Dale from Swaterlincote, England. Bermuda Steve. Paul from Bozeman, Dave from Flossmoor, Illinois. Dan from Whitestone, New York. Blake Weber from Novato, California. How you doing, Blake? David from Owings Mills, Maryland. Norman from Los Angeles. Mike P. from Hawaii. Paul, Cheryl, Sam from Anthem, Arizona. How are you guys? Rick from sunny Blackpool, UK. Bo from Hoover, Alabama. Kelly, Sans, Tom's not there today, from Eatonton, Georgia. Mike from Perth, Australia. It's probably 1 o'clock there. Dana from Yalcourt, Washington. Rob from South Devon, England. Jurgen from Delft, the Netherlands. Dan, my man, from Kingman, Arizona. How you doing, Dan? Chad Colton from South Whitley, Indiana. I know you guys. Warren from Batavia, Ohio. Paul from Reading, Berkshire, UK. Engineer Mike from New Hyde Park, New York. Carrie from Dallas, Texas. Brian from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've been there. DaCosta and Sons from Hatfield, Virginia. Dave from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Mark from Anthem. Matt from Newark, Ohio. I'm moonwalking, Chris. Keep up. Milo from Serbia. Craig, Tyler, and Michelle from Wirtz, Virginia. I know you guys. Joe from Akron. Hey, it's Joe.
It is Joe.
From Akron. How you doing, Joe? All right. Jay from Swami Narayan, India. I think I got it right. David from Southwest France. We have Mark Crimpton and Delek, the Netherlands. Apo from Aka, Finland. You're always there with us. Thank you, everybody. Nick from Woodhaven, New York. Andrew from Toledo, Ohio. Get ready, Chris. Henrik and Zolo from Sweden. Chim Zinsbury, Linz, Austria. Daniel from Bottquill, Switzerland. Woo! Jason from Puyallup, Washington. Elga Bean Turo, Union City, California. How are you? Warped Woodsman. Woo! Portland, Oregon. Mike from Puyallup, Washington. A lot of people from Puyallup. Merlin from Walla Walla, Washington. Pocono Joe. That's cool. Pocono Joe from Kokomo. No, it's Pocono Joe from Lakeville, Pennsylvania. Thomas from Patton, PA. Tim from Livingston, New Jersey. My main man, Oliver from Southern California. Brian from Pumpkinville, Australia. Sam from Kingston, New York. Audrey from Oklahoma City. Is that the OKC, man? Is that correct, Mundo? We have Mike E. Mike E. It's Mike E. from Merced, California. Woodcraft, Dayton. What's it called? Merced. That's what I said.
Okay.
Did I say Merced? Merced me. No? Merced me. Woodcraft, you know where? From Dayton. Woo! The home of Dirk. Okay. We have Dave and Gwen from West Virginia. Roll from Old Vega, the Netherlands. Tim from Lakeville, Massachusetts. Gaspar from Croatia. That's so cool. Steve from Fort Wayne, Indiana. How you doing, Steve? We have George from Tallinn, Estonia. Chris and Rick from Newfoundland. Oh, we have some newfies today. We have some Sparktrician from Virginia. We have Mike C. from Winchester, Virginia. We have Max from Germany. Safe from London. Wil van Dijk from Pannerden, the Netherlands. I got the nod from Minnie. I did it okay. I have TWM from Roseborough, North Wales. David from Israel. Cal from London, UK. Power Tool Services in Southern Africa. Oh, this is a good one. We have Bumpy from Hamburg, New York. I want that name. That's a good name, Bumpy. That's a good name. John from, get ready, Chris, West Fairleigh, Vermont. We have Matt from Tinley Park, Noise. I'm scaring Chris. He's jumping. We have Greg from Holyport, UK. Doug from Atlanta, Georgia. Mike M. Mr. Martinez from Austin, Texas. We have Ken. Ken. Hi, Ken. We have Chuck from Walla Walla, Floyd, Trey, and Chris from Florida. We have Mike from Remsen, Iowa. Is that it, Min Min?
I'm good.
Oh, my goodness. Chris, did I scare you?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry, Chris. All right. Hey, everybody, we're going to go have some cake.
That's right.
We're going to celebrate the unit's birthday. I want to tell you how much we love you guys, because we really do. We can't wait for this hour or half hour or 45 minutes. I'm trying to slow it down a little, because people say, hey, Sedge, slow it down a little. I'm trying. I get overexcited because I love talking about Festool. I love hanging out with these folks. Brent, thank you so much for being out there for us all the time, answering all those questions. Everybody, I'll say it again, we love you. Have a fantastic weekend. We will be back next week, and I've named next week's episode Festool, The Wall of Sound. Whew, and I'll have you guessing all week. So I'll see you next week. Same Festool time, same Festool channel. Kabang, kapow, whammy, zowie.
Oh, B Double Dizzle was here.
B Double Dizzle's here? From where?
From, where Walmart comes from. Bentonville, Arkansas.
From Bentonville, Arkansas.
Yes.
See, you say Arkansas, I say Arkansas.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. That would be a wrap.